Revised Covered California Income Table for 2023. Hello, I'm Kevin Knaus with InsureMeKevin.com. And every year, Covered California must update its income chart to reflect the higher federal poverty levels that were released earlier in the year, but after open enrollment has closed. And the revisions apply directly to programs that Covered California screens for related to Medi-Cal. So those in particular are the columns of 138%, which is the column for adults to be eligible for Medi-Cal. So if your income is below 138, you're Medi-Cal. 213%, that is the column for Medi-Cal for pregnant women. 266% of the federal poverty level, that is the upper limit for Medi-Cal for kids. So families that have children that are 18 years old and younger, if the income is under 266% of the federal poverty level, the children are determined eligible for Medi-Cal. And 322%, which is Medi-Cal Access Program for women, and the county CHIP program in those select counties of San Francisco, San Mateo, and Santa Clara. So if we look at the higher federal poverty levels on an annual basis, you can see a family size of one in that first row there, 138 for a single adult, 20,121. Compare that to the revised Covered California, and it is now 20,121. It was 18,755. So all of those categories have gone up by about 6%. And they will apply to people who are applying for health insurance through Covered California after April 1st. But what about people already in Covered California? Well, when you come into Covered California, if you did that before the beginning of the plan year, say in November or December, you entered under the 2022 income charts and federal poverty levels. And so that all applied. So if your income was $19,000 as a single adult, which was over the 18,755 number, you were eligible for a Covered California private health insurance plan with the subsidies. If you make no changes to your account during the year after these higher income numbers have been implemented, nothing will change. You're still good. However, if you report a change to your Covered California account, and it can be as small as just updating an email address, what happens is that Covered California must run the entire application through what they call the business rules engine of the software. And the business rules engine has the higher income numbers and any other changes that may have come along during the year. So the application and the income is compared to the higher numbers. So if you're right on the cusp, if you entered Covered California as a single adult with a $19,000 income, and you update your email address or something very small like that, and that income number has changed to 20,121 annually, Covered California is going to flag it and send it over to the county as pending Medi-Cal eligibility. And once that happens, you have to kind of deal with the county. Now, this is particularly important for families that have children because we just don't really think about that very often, and making a small change on the application can trip the children into Medi-Cal, and that can be a real disruption, especially if the children are undergoing treatment or seeing different doctors, and then you have to deal with the county. Now, Medi-Cal screens for eligibility on a monthly income basis. So if you want to know what your monthly income needs to be to avoid any of the Medi-Cal programs, you just take the annual number in those four columns and divide by 12. And that's where you need to pay particular attention to the income section of the Covered California account, because it is very date sensitive. If you're applying in a month where your monthly income is underneath one of these Medi-Cal thresholds, even though in the following month the income will be higher, the Covered California system screens for Medi-Cal eligibility in the month that you applied. So all of these numbers have gone up by about 6%, and you have to kind of be cognizant of that. The next time this will all apply to everyone is during the open enrollment period, where Covered California oftentimes does a passive renewal on most of the accounts. So if you have not updated your income before the passive renewal, then during the passive renewal, if your income is below that threshold for one of these Medi-Cal programs, you may have your case sent over to the county. But otherwise, everything is good for the remainder of the year. And that is the revision that happens every year at Covered California. It sometimes feels like they are changing the rules in the middle of the stream on people, but they're just doing their job. They have to implement the higher federal poverty levels that have been announced by the federal government. So for insuremekevin.com, if you have any questions or comments, you may leave them down below. I will do my best to answer them. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day.